You stole Greece from Prince Edward.
Essentially, yeah. It's an unusual tone for a therapist, but and just when you do it, just don't think it doesn't matter because it puts something out into the world, and you have to be okay with that. So no, I was a bit like.
Sophie, can I be clear? I didn't make that comment.
I am Sophie Ellis-Bextor, and I'm going to be on the Romesh Ranganathan show, but only because he supplied me with very good quality gherkins.
Shut up, Romesh.
My guest today is a British pop singer, songwriter and podcaster. She started singing in an indie band The Audience at 16, signed her first record deal at 18 after going solo and moving into dance pop. She reached #1 with Groove Jet, If This Ain't Love, beating Victoria Beckham and Dane Bowers. None other than, This Tune Is Going to Punish You.
Do you remember that?
Remember it? I'll still listen to it now.
Cool.
During her 30-year music career, she has produced 8 hit studio albums, the latest Perimenopop. Since the 2001 hit Murder on the Dance Floor featured in a pretty memorable scene in Saltburn, she is busier than ever. Last year, she performed 110 gigs, more than Taylor Swift. Lazy old Taylor. Had her debut hit single on the Billboard Hot 100 and headlined her first tour in the US. Now she's back on tour again. It's disco queen, Sophie Ellis-Bextor! How are you? Good?
Good. I only have one correction.
Go for it.
I did 148 gigs. I thought it was because I met with my agent and only a few weweeks ago.
Yeah.
And he said, so I'm part of my live agency. It's called CAA.
I know
and
CAA,
yeah, so he said...
Yeah, they don't know who I am. But...
Well, I should have got some sort of like medal or something.
Right.
The end of last year, I performed more than any act on CAA globally. And I was like, why are you only telling me in September when I've still been doing so many gigs? Like, can I not... Why are you not like, okay, calm it down?
What do you get for that?
Nothing.
Oh.
Nothing. It's a sore
You get
throat.
to be away from home a lot.
Got quite run down.
That's a nice prize. Now, we've actually got you a gift.
Oh, I love gifts. Thank you.
It's here.
The disco ball.
The disco ball.
Next to the cup of tea, which is also a gift.
There's more to it. This is based on things that we've been told you like.
Oh, my word. Oh, no. I know what I'm hoping for, and I don't know what...
Hoping for? Oh, okay.
This is awesome. It's actually better.
Yeah. It's also not what you were hoping for.
Well,
that
no,
much
I can
is
see
clear.
it. I thought it was going to be just filled with gherkins.
There
now
are
I see there are gherkins
in there.
with tomatoes. So thank you.
What do you think? I heard apparently
I'm
you're
super
really
happy.
into tomatoes.
Made to make my mouth water. I'm happy. Like I can see that tomato selection is pretty. That's pretty artisan.
Do you recognise those? I mean, you recognise they're tomatoes, but do you recognise? do you?
Yeah, so I'm with you, Sophie.
Sophie, come back to me, Sophie. These are tomatoes. No, I mean, do you recognise? And these are gherkins. You like gherkins, don't you?
I do. I want to know a bit more about the gherkin.
Do you mind?
Which gherkins have you
fingers.
gone for? Because
These are Mrs. Elwood gherkins.
she's cool.
What were you hoping for?
Gherkins. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Okay, fine.
But the tomatoes is an extra bonus because I eat them all the time. Like I eat them like sweets. I just have a big bowl. I don't normally go for fancy ones. That's fun. The little cherry tomatoes there.
Oh,
on the
okay.
vine. I
Because
love
you're not going to
those.
tuck into but those you can just pop in.
If I have the
can't
big ones, then what I sometimes do is like slice them and like, a little bit of salt. That's really tasty. But
you? Which ones? The big ones?
Yeah, the big ones. Sometimes the big ones I find they don't have as much flavour.
Sure.
I like a bit of impact with my tomato.
Me too. I love an impactful tomato. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
About the cherry tomatoes? You're popping them in normally.
Yeah.
If you're slicing them to put in a salad, have you done the double plate knife through the middle?
Oh, no. That's a genius idea. Do you do that?
No, I've never done it. It looks really difficult.
I bet it would just slide around a lot.
Well,
right?
I saw it as like a chef hack. Where you put them and then you put the thing on the top and then you slice through the middle and apparently they all end up. Because
great.
otherwise what happens is they explode,
You need
don't
a good sharp knife for that, I would imagine.
Welcome to Tomatoes with Romesh and Sophie. Do you want to have one? Go ahead, Sophie.
Yeah, but then you'll
They're
get...
washed by
It's
the
not
way.
so much that, it's more like you get sounds of like eating.
Yeah, we do, yeah. And we've eaten pizza on here.
Delicious.
Good?
So good. I love tomatoes, genuinely.
Yeah.
I'm like really happy.
So how's life treating you, Sophie? Good?
Actually, yeah, I'm feeling really good this week. I've had a nice week because I've been at home and I had a lovely tour. I've just been in Europe, which was great.
Yeah.
But I was ready to come back. I missed being at home, so I'm enjoying
What do you do?
that.
How does it work with family with you being on tour? What do you do?
So it depends what shape. What I'm doing is, like I said, I'm sure it's similar to you. Everything's there's things that come around that are sort of familiar themes, but every time it's slightly different in terms
Yeah.
of how long I'm away and what's going on with the kids. So with this one, I didn't have enough room on the tour bus for them to come and visit. So I just went away. It was 2.5 weeks.
So you're on a tour bus with everybody in there?
Yeah, with
What's
my
that
band. Actually really lovely. So Richard, my husband's in the band, so he is on bass, and my brother is on drums, and then everybody else in the band has been with us for quite a long time now. And it's fairly wholesome, I have to say, but it's
Really?
happy. I like tour buses. I like the fact you go to sleep in one place and then you wake up and you're in another city.
Yeah.
And there's a nice rhythm that develops to the whole day and exploring.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. But I was definitely ready to come back and be in my own bed and drink tea out my own mugs. And
What does when you get off the tour bus and you're out and about doing your tour show and stuff, and then you get back onto the tour bus, does it smell like hell?
No, this is quite a nice one, actually. We managed to find a really lovely, and also I have to say, we have a sort of like Mama and Papa Bear type room in this tour bus where it's like a double bedroom with its own bathroom. It's the fanciest tour bus I've ever had.
Really?
So nice.
I've never had a tour bus.
And then I fill it slowly with bags and bags of clothes that I found places like secondhand and vintage clothes.
Yeah.
Because I'm an absolute fiend for that. So, and jars of gherkins. So yeah, as the tour progresses, the amount of stuff I accumulate grows.
And what is it like having this kind of, like, last year was a massive year for you, and you've basically, it's like people have rediscovered you, and you've got new fans as well, like so many new fans. What does it feel like to be at the centre of all that?
Well, I guess it's always quite hard to be objective about yourself, and you know, that sounds too daft. I've always kind of known what I was up to and where I was headed with things.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak for other people. But last year was extraordinary. I mean, I finished 2023 very busy as well. We'd had the kitchen discos in lockdown, which was like a live
So
broadcast.
good. That was so good.
Well, it was insane. Really, they were really bonkers, but it gave us this whole community, which felt really special. So after that, we did this tour that was kind of celebrating that. And then I was already thinking at the end of 2023, okay, next year, a bit quieter, I'll start writing a new album. And I had a few tours in the diary. So I had one with Nile Rodgers and Human League and European tour. But then after what happened with Murder on Dance Floor, all the gaps that were around those things got really full.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was extraordinary. But I felt simultaneously kind of drunk on it because it was so adrenalized and exciting, but also a nice feeling of being quite sober, and I knew that what was happening was extraordinary, and to just hold my nerve and take all these opportunities and have the most celebratory fun with all of it as well.
Do you, when I asked you that question about last year being massive for you and people rediscovering you, getting new fans, is there part of you that slightly balks at that? Because, you know, as you said, you're busy and you were doing things anyway. So then it's you know, sometimes people with artists, when they're like, when they're still doing their thing and creating new stuff and people don't know, people assume that they're not about and doing, do you know what I mean? Like there's an assumption that you're no longer doing that thing, but you were busy and you were doing loads of stuff the whole time.
Yeah, I suppose I've sort of been doing it a bit too long for that to be a bother to me, that kind of thing. I've realised for a long time that, you know, for most people, and it works the same way when we think of other people's careers, there'll be the bits where you can see them very visibly and then the bits where they're just getting on with it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the barometer of how satisfied I am by my work is not equated to where my profile is at.
Yeah.
It's to do with how I'm feeling about everything and how busy I am and good momentum around what I'm up to. So I guess I've been kind of quite sort of sated by what I do for quite a while in that regard. But I suppose with last year, no, I don't bulk at that, and I also don't mind if there's people who only ever know me for one song. Like that's more than enough. It's embarrassing.
You don't start to resent the song, and every time people request it, you think, I really hate you and everything about you. And why did I ever create this song? And look in the mirror and you go, oh my God, this is like such a horrible prison that I've created for myself. Oh, I'm just asking. I'm just freestyling.
It's an unusual tone for a therapist. Trying to dismantle my emotional stability.
Yeah, we needed a crying clip. That's what I was going for.
Yeah. You sure?
Yeah. You sure you're not sad? You're sad,
sure.
aren't you?
Come on. No, I think without sounding too Enid Blyton about it, I really love what I do, and I've had moments where being able to keep singing has not necessarily been something I felt like I could rely on. So the fact that I get to do what I do that's wonderful. I'm very happy with that. And if people want to know one song, I can remember the time when I first started singing, I would have, if I could go back in time to like 17-year-old me and say, 30 years where you're still going to be doing it and you'll have something that people associate with you. Like, that would have blown my mind.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like if any artist does feel like that, I kind of feel like they need a bit of a talking to, actually. Like, get over yourself. Like, there's so many things in the world. What entitles you to more than to anything? Like, I'm not the most talented singer I know. Like, there's so many people doing what we do. I just know I'm fortunate. And I have loads of lovely people around me. But in answer to your question about bulking, I think when it first started to really take off, and because of the nature of viral success being so speedy.
Yeah. And potentially overwhelming. Right?
Yeah, that did definitely feel a bit like, okay, I just need to... I had a few ideas of what I wanted to be up to. And also I was taking stock of exactly where my career was at. And I wanted to make sure that everything that was happening with Murder also made complete sense of what else I had planned for what I was up to. And I think that was the bit that I needed a bit of time to just own the bits of it that really worked for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
And that can feel a bit scary because it was a bit like getting on a carousel and then realising it's a roller coaster. It was like, okay, this is actually going to be a little bit quicker.
Really mad? Did it feel insane?
Yeah, it did, because it was glorious, but it was also, there's so much transparency to it. And people, so Richard and my manager, Derek, who I've worked with for like 20 years, they'd be every day, oh, have you seen these numbers? And it's been used on this clip. And it's like, it's quite a lot to take in. But I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of moments in my life where I've been aware that something's happened that will forever shift where the path goes. And I think I've learned to just enjoy it and relax, because it always passes. All of it passes. The good, the bad, it always passes. So I think you have to be a little bit philosophical and amongst it all, I think.
Yeah. So the song became massive because it was used in a very gentle scene in Saltburn.
I know.
What was the journey to that? Like, how did you know? I mean, you can't have known that it was going to take off like that.
No.
Not Saltburn, but the song in particular with that scene.
Definitely
but did you? How much were you across it being used, and what scene it was being used in, all of that?
So I'd received an email with a little synopsis of how they would hope to use the song in the films. So I knew it was someone dancing naked, but I didn't know anything else about it really, except for that some of the names of some of the actors attached and the director. And I thought, that's actually a massive compliment. Emerald Fennell, I loved her previous film, Promising Young Woman. And I thought, oh, cool. Kind of want to see someone dancing naked. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that always sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just was like,
I'm requesting it all the time.
Yeah, let me see that. But I actually didn't, I sort of forgot to tell anybody. So I'd forgot to tell my manager or Richard that I'd given this approval.
Yeah. So does it come directly to you?
That one did. I mean, I think Derek would have been like copied on it, but I was the one who'd replied. And yes, so basically, whenever a song is used, they have to get approval from any of the writers. So I gave my thumbs up. And then I sort of forgot about it, actually. And then this is a bit of an odd twist, but it was the end of year nursery like picnic for our youngest, and Richard took Mickey along to it for that day. And one of the other dads was actually working on the soundtrack. Yeah. And he said, I think this Saltburn soundtrack is actually shaping up to be a bit of a moment. And Richard came home and said, why didn't you tell me about this film? Yeah. Apparently it's going to be kind of a big deal, and it's got all these other songs in it. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I just hadn't really thought about it. And also sometimes people change their mind. They might have got approval and then not used it. So from that, we went along to a screening.
Oh my God.
Saw the movie on like a Tuesday morning at about 10 a.m.
No.
And I took my whole family.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was sat in between my then 18-year-old, I think, and my mum watching. I mean, it's not just the bit where, to be honest, the bit where he dances naked is not the bit where you're challenged. No. There's other scenes which
there's a few challenges.
There are. And in amongst it, that I did really enjoy it. I could see that as a director, Emerald likes to push you to make you squirm, and I could sort of enjoy the dark humour of that. Yeah. Also, I think it's a good story. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's a great cast. So by the time I got to the end, I'd kind of forgotten why we were there watching it, because we'd been through all these, through this movie together, and then the final scene, I was like, oh, okay, oh wow. And I couldn't really make sense of it, if I'm honest, because it sort of jolted me out of just watching. Yeah. But then because they had an actors strike at the time in LA, they invited Richard and I over to the LA screening to sing and DJ.
Yeah.
And at the last minute, the strike calls off. And so we met everybody. And that was the night where one of my friends who was there said, I think this is going to really blow up. And I was like, no way. And she was like, I really, really do. And I was thinking, well, how would that feel?
Yeah.
Like, wild. Especially in America where it's never been a hit. So I was like, that would actually be pretty crazy. Like, what a good story.
It's amazing. We've actually got a question from my mum, I think, on this.
Has
not
she
on
watched
this.
Saltburn?
I've not talked to her about it. It's certainly not the sort of thing I'd bring up in conversation.
Can't imagine her watching it out of choice, but maybe she has.
Hi, my Sophie. This is Romesh's mom.
I'm sorry about that.
I really love your music. I was thinking you should have won the Strictly. I must say you are a fantastic dancer. Love to learn. A few moves from you. How did you feel about your song in the film? My Lord, lovely dance. Keep on dancing, my darling. Beautiful.
That's so sweet.
It was sweet. It's
unexpectedly tender.
It was really unexpectedly
nice.
tender. I've not had that kind of tenderness from her.
Well, what was it? I just, I thought she was so lovely, but I didn't really know I'd made any sort of impression on her.
Yeah,
so
you obviously have.
I feel like that's nice to have it confirmed. Also, very sweet that she meant, my dancing with the choreography might have worked, but my dancing as a sort of, just when I do my gigs is pretty, I don't even know what that is. It's enthusiastic, but it's not something that I think would be encouraged.
But you're now being described as iconic, right? It's
by who?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Word on the street.
Yeah,
Wicked,
it's like you'll often see there'll often be a video of you like doing a concert or something, and then the first comment is like "Slay Queen, iconic."
Is that your mum again?
Yeah. Slay, yes.
Queen.
That must feel amazing.
Yes, but I suppose I don't really take much from it. Look, when I'm in a gig, I want people to feel like they've made the right decision to come and see me.
Yeah.
And obviously the music I make is intended to hopefully lift people's spirits. Like that's what pop music does for me. It's a tonic and it allows me to lift my mood or explore emotions, but with a sort of through a positive window. So if people take a positive from what I'm up to, that's gorgeous. But I think with the thing about like comments and things is if you take the good, you have to take the bad. So I've chosen to sort of step back from a lot of
Yes, well, I'd love to see some good. You talked you talked about sort of people, how visible you are. A lot of the requests are for me to be less visible.
Oh.
Are you on this? Is there any way of escaping this?
Well, shame on them.
I thought I knew Talentless, then I saw Romesh. It's just stuff I've seen today.
Well, I deleted Twitter the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, I was just like, I'm over these horrible people. Like, it's just not a healthy environment to wander through.
I sort of like to wallow in it.
You have to know yourself. You have to know what works for you and if it's making you feel okay or not.
I think there's like a
going on the chat rooms.
Yeah, or I sort of enjoy I'll often go onto Daily Mail if there's a Daily Mail story about me.
And you read the comments.
Yeah, I love it.
To be honest,
I feel sort of invigorated.
I know what you mean.
Hates me.
Well, I know what you mean. And also there's something pleasing about, wow, I'm creating such a strong reaction.
Yeah.
Just by existing.
Yeah, because I think like if you're trying to be vanilla, nobody's trying to be vanilla, but like what I mean is you can't be all things to all people.
Absolutely.
So then if somebody really hates you, at least that's passionate.
I agree.
If somebody's having a reaction to you,
I'm totally with you on that.
I kind of like it.
I'm absolutely the same. And sometimes I feel like the less talent you think I have, the more impressed you should be I'm still here.
Yeah. And sometimes I just think, God, like this person's so angry. Every day I continue to have a career. It must be making them so sad.
Yeah. You know what, Romesh? I think I'm quite like that too. And I used to read all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I once engaged with someone as well. And I normally don't. And it's because someone started talking about my children, which I do think crosses a line.
Yes.
And I did write like a little essay. And I was like...
What did you get obviously angry. So what did you say? Was it a reasoned argument? You weren't angry?
No. I said, I'm supposed to pretend that I don't read these comments and that what you've said is not something I'll see.
Yeah.
And I just want you to think about the fact that you went online and commented about someone else's children, and you might not think much about that again. But what you do there is put a little drop on the water and all these concentric circles of negativity. And if you look underneath your comment, people have gone on and said, you can't say that kind of thing. So you've affected other people's day by what you put out into the world. And maybe you're fine with that. Maybe you're fine to make a comment about someone else's children and have all the concentric circles. But maybe you're not. And maybe you want to think a little bit about what made you do that. So I'm just going to leave that with you. And just when you do it, just don't think it doesn't matter, because it puts something out into the world and you have to be okay with that. So no, I was quite like,
Yeah. Sophie, can I be clear? I didn't make that comment.
Well, I was so pleased with my reply, and then I went back and thought, actually, I'm going to copy it.
What was the response?
Well, the whole thing she deleted her comment, which deleted my very considered,
Very eloquent response.
So I didn't get a chance to do what I would normally do, which is like copy and paste in case I need it again another day.
Yeah, but
But maybe it wasn't that eloquent. But I was like, I'm just gonna make her think.
I suspect what happened is that person commented without thinking it's a real person.
Of course.
So they're just going,
yeah.
Oh, this would be a fun thing to do.
I get that. I totally get that.
And so then when you respond, you're actually, what you're doing is forcing that person to engage.
Absolutely. That's why I said I'm supposed to pretend I don't even look at this stuff. But I do. Yeah. And I think that the desire sometimes to go back into the room and hear what people said about you after you left is a really very understandable human instinct. Like, it's fascinating. And it's that Oscar Wilde thing as well of like, what's better than being gossiped about is not being spoken about.
Yeah.
You know, there's something in it, like you said, or it means someone is actually engaging with you. Even if negative attention is still attention.
So we had a problem with our youngest son's school placement.
I heard about that. I remember that was around the time I saw you last, actually.
Yeah, when I posted that video, a lot of people were going, "Oh, thanks for mentioning this because I'm having that problem." But a lot of people said, "Oh, boo-hoo, privileged celebrity doesn't get his own way for once, right?" Which is but what I would say is I do understand it from their point of view. I actually sort of think I can understand you feel like that. But this is the one that really sort of stuck out. Somebody said, you're like, you annoy me so much that it actually makes me happy that this has gone wrong for you.
Ooh,
and then
nasty.
but I thought that is like, I get like annoying privileged celebrity, that I actually understand it. Like, that's reasonable, I think, in that world. But that was like, I was like, oh my God, man, like, you must really hate me. You know?
Yeah, but then you got to think about the sort of person that actually also sits down, like, types that. Like, what are you doing? What kind of a life is going on there?
So tell us all about your new album, Perimenopop.
Perimenopop, yeah.
It's the best title.
Oh, thank you.
It's the best title. I think I commented, or I might have messaged you or something, but that's an excellent title. So what's the inspiration behind it?
I'm so glad you say that, because part of me is still quite surprised at my my boldness in a way, because I don't think I would have done that when I was younger. I'd done anything sort of punchy like that, but
well, you can't bring out Perimenopop at 18.
it would have been weird, wouldn't it?
People would be going, what's going on?
What is she talking about?
Is she okay?
Yeah, she can. Can you imagine? I'm just preempting it.
Yeah.
But I think what I mean by that is also, when I was younger, there was such a gap between, you know, the stage version of you is supposed to be this sort of armored version where you diminish or quieten down any aspect that you think doesn't become part of the pop star aesthetic or the lifestyle.
bulletproof
yeah, or
pop
like
star,
it's anything that's a bit, I don't know, square or dorky or silly or uncool. Any of those things you tell yourself, like, let's pretend that doesn't happen, because on stage I am this person.
Yeah.
But I think as time has gone by, I've really lessened the gap. So I think with this title, it's like the most sort of 360 I've felt in terms of bringing my whole life into what I do with music as well. So that involves, getting older and generally it's not thought of as a very sexy thing for a pop star to talk about, you know, being in middle age. And that's what I've quite enjoyed about the juxtaposition. Like, well, why not? This is what happens. So let me just put it front and center, because it's possible that all these things can coexist. I can be that person and still get on stage and wear tinsel sometimes.
Yeah.
It's all me.
It's quite a bold. It is a bold thing to do. I mean, you used the word yourself, but like, were you nervous about that at all? Because really, you are putting yourself out there, I guess. Do you know what I mean? And actually, what you're supposed, if you sort of think about, you know, musicians, artists, and particularly for women, what a lot of people are doing is trying to just disguise the fact that any aging or any getting
Definitely.
older is happening at all, right? And
100%.
actually, what you're just supposed to go, no, I'm not getting older. I'm
Yeah.
not. It's not.
I know.
So for you to embrace it,
Yeah.
in hindsight, it feels really smart. But I'm not saying you did it in a cynical way. But what I mean is, as soon as I saw the title, I thought there'll be so many people that just go, holy shit, that's such, that is such a cool thing to do.
I hope so.
But you've got to tell your label, you've got to, that's the decision you've made. So there's all sorts of steps, points, moments for you to reflect on whether you want to go ahead and do that.
Definitely.
Right? How was that?
So you're quite right. And also, I wouldn't say it was about being smart, because I don't think that was, as you say, it's kind of risky. But I think what it did do from the moment I started to settle on it was give permission.
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of my worry, because I think what was quite extraordinary about last year, I was already planning on making a disco pop album for the first time in a decade. Then I have the resurgence of murder, which is causing me, look, my relationship with murder's sorted, but I hadn't thought about its inception for ages. I hadn't thought about the day we made the video or when I went into the studio. So I was actively thinking about the beginning of my career, because it so happened that song was right at the beginning. So it caused me to look back at, 21, 22-year-old me, and the good people that are still around me, the things I've moved on from, whether or not I had any idea of what it would be like to be making pop at this stage.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, the more I made the record, I was like, especially in the wake of a viral hit, which is synonymous with youth culture. And obviously everybody's thinking, okay, how are you going to follow up Murder on the Dance Floor? And I'm like, well, I'm not. Murder on the Dance Floor came out in 2001. Like, I've had those conversations, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there. She's doing her thing. I'm now here, and this is where I'm at. So the more I was making this record and thinking all these thoughts, I was like, my age has got to be the perspective. It's the vantage point, because it's so relevant. It's informing all my decision making and my songwriting and how I feel. It's got to be there. And it's the conversation I'm having with my peers. So I was like, right. And one of my girlfriends that I write with, called Hannah, said, I was talking to her about it, and she was like, haha, Perimenopop. And we thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But obviously I was like, well, I'd never do that. And then I just couldn't think of anything that sorted it out better. I was like, what's another word for a middle-aged woman? Like, how can I make this a bit like, let's just slap it on the front and be like, deal with it. And it was like, oh my word, it is Perimenopop. And then I spoke to my eldest boy, because I thought, I don't want to embarrass. I said, how would you feel, Sonny? And he was like, go for it. I think it's great. And I said, do you think it's cringy? And he said, well, there's always aspects that are a bit uncomfortable with things at the beginning. He said, even Brat. But then it became so much about celebrating what makes you feel a bit awkward. And I thought, okay, that's really smart. I love that perspective. And then I said to my mum, and she went, go for it. And that's when I started to get excited. And then I was like, someone else is going to do it first. That feeling.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a nice feeling, because I was like, okay, now I know I'm onto something.
Well, I think if you sort of think about this, I'm saying this as somebody who knows nothing. I should qualify everything I say is from a sort of an ignorant standpoint. But I feel like, music in particular always feels like it's aimed at young people, right? And so actually, when you get to, I'm in my late 40s, but, for people of our age, it doesn't feel like you're being, you are being catered for, but it doesn't feel like stuff is aimed at you. You know, you might like stuff. Most of the music I like is not made for people like me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm really into hip hop, but nobody's going, I hope that guy that's that really middle-aged dad's like going to enjoy this. So for you to then to say this is Perimenopop, I think it's like I honestly think it's an amazing thing. It's like you're going, this is the age I'm at. Like, this is for you. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, it's not just this is not you sneaking in and listening to some music that's a bit embarrassing for you to be listening to. This is like made for you, by you, and I think that's really exciting. You sort of think about, there's little examples of that where, having gigs that are for people that would rather just get home before midnight, like things that, all of that sort of stuff. I think I just think it's a really great thing to do. I really do.
I appreciate that very much. And when you said you're coming from not feeling informed, I don't think that's true at all, because everything you talked about is exactly that. It's the emotional thing. It's not literally an album about being about to go through menopause. I mean, God, like, I don't want to write about that.
No.
It's about that you can still feel like that version of yourself while all these other things are happening.
Yeah.
So that was why it was so important. That's why it was like absolutely right in the middle. But I think everybody will go through moments where they're approaching their middle age and thinking about all these things and thinking, am I still okay to do this? And I didn't really plan this. What does it look like to love hip hop as I approach 50? Like, how does that feel? And I think it's like, that's why, the permission, but also the celebration of like all the things you've laid down over the years to get to that point where you know yourself and you know what you like and you enjoy it and you seek it out. Like, I just think that's so healthy and maybe not something that's as spoken about as much as
it felt
I
like
feel.
It felt like it cut through when I saw the announcement.
Thank you.
It cut through. So it was a cool thing to do. Were the label all right with it? Was everybody all right with it?
Yeah, I think there was like a slightly like awkward moment when we had like the first planning meeting and there was talk about, I don't know, like what we could do to make it kind of tie in. And it was a bit too on the nose. It was like, we can do fans because, hot flashes. And I'm like, Jesus, no. Like, this is not, do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, though.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I really thought, look, it's a fine line. But I thought, there was even a weird moment where there was talk about trying to come up with like the label had an idea to make a slogan calling it anti-ageist pop, and I'm like, this album's not anti anything. No, let me just talk about what it means to me, and we'll have to just be okay with that. And if I talk clumsily, so be it. I've done the work. It's my record. I've written this. Like, just let me talk about what I've done and see if people connect with it or not. So I think with the label, there was some people who really got it, and other people where they're a bit like, perimenopause. And certainly, a well-meaning person I work with did message me and say, we can use it in the promotion, but maybe we give it a different title. And I was like, what is that? Like, why be half-hearted? I've done the cooler, singer-songwriter album titles. I've been there. I've done those things. And that was right for them. But now is not the time. And also I felt kind of bold. I think I'm quite good at being middle-aged. I quite like being a middle-aged woman. I enjoy it more than I thought I would.
But then if somebody asks you that, somebody well-meaning asks you that, at any point did you think maybe this is a mistake?
No, it was the sort of thing where I felt more like I was onto something. Is that bad?
Yeah.
I just was thinking, well, good, it should provoke a little thing, And I just thought, I've worked on this. I feel good about it. Why would I want to now like hide its light under a bushel and try and be like, now's the time to be extra. My last album was quite introverted. This is extrovert. Let's go.
Yeah.
See what happens next. I just worry sometimes I've spent so much time talking about my age, like literally what am I going to do next? Somewhere out there, like 70-year-old me is going to be like, okay, now can I talk about my age?
Yeah, you need to get to the next stage where it's sort of like fragility pop or limited mobility pop or something like that.
Oh, I'll be right there. I'm going to need both my knees replaced
Incontinent pop.
I'm wearing out the cartilage with every gig, so don't worry.
Right, really?
These things will happen. Yeah.
I sometimes, I've started to, this is really old chat now, but sometimes I'll do like, when I'm doing on tour, I'll do an act out or something, and I'll, like of a routine. And then I finish and I think I might need a break. Just sort of breathing heavily into the mic. You said you got your husband and your brother in your band.
Yes.
What is that like, working with family?
I love it. I think it makes all the difference, actually. I mean, imagine what, all the gigs and the travelling and the touring would look like if I didn't have like Richard with me and have my brother with me as well. It's just lovely. I know it's very wholesome, but I do really like it.
Does it make you feel like you're not sort of away? Yeah,
but it also means that we can find you can kind of make the part of the day about something other. And I think, you could maybe go for a nice lunch somewhere or find a good coffee place or go for a walk somewhere pretty. And it's like for a little moment, you can just have a pause out of that. And I think also for the kids, it means that everything we do is kind of, they've got a vision of it in their head with their mum and dad doing it together. And I think that's quite nice too, hopefully.
Yeah. Does it It doesn't get stressful being with family all the
You know
time.
what? I can see why you'd say that, but I think Richard and I met in that dynamic. So he was the bass player in my band.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to know one another. And also the roles we have are really, they are codependent insofar as, with making the music, but we're actually also doing our own thing. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have anything to say to him about how he plays bass. And so it's like
No,
we
I
kind
get
of
you.
kind of
Yeah.
do our
You're
own
not
thing.
like James Brown sort of fining him if he gets a note wrong or anything
Oh
like that.
no, can you imagine? It's so awkward. No, so I think from my point of view, it probably has allowed me to really enjoy a lot of what I do much, much more. And I think I'd be quite lonely if I didn't have people to play with when I'm away. I don't think I enjoy it as much. I like doing things with people, and even when I've been doing, I don't know, if I've got like a gig coming up or something, if I've got the chance to take a girlfriend or I've taken one of the kids with me, I've done that as well. Because I think you've got to find the fun. Like that is literally that is the bit, isn't it? There's not a bit where you like complete and then okay, now we can relax. Like the doing is the living.
Yeah, I mean, I do think I think that is part of the thing about, we've talked about getting older, but I feel like when you're younger, I feel like you're thinking about getting to this, whatever this milestone is in your career. You're like, when I get to there, it'll feel great.
Yeah.
And I've just got to get to here and
Exactly.
it'll feel amazing.
Jacob's ladder.
Yeah. And then what happens is you get there and you go, I've totally changed what I want now, and this isn't done everything I thought.
Or there's another level above you, and you're like, oh, now I need to do that. And I think, and also I think for me, involving my friends and family helps you remember that a lot of what I do is really, really amazing. So, I remember one time taking one of my kids. He must have been 7 or 8, and I had a gig abroad, and it was a bit of an arduous travel. 2 nights back. But because I had him with me, we walked into this hotel and he's like, oh, look at the chandelier, like he saw it all with wonder. And I was like, well, okay, now we can enjoy ourselves a bit more. So I think for me, it's kept me remembering that a lot of what I do is pretty jammy, really.
Yeah, it's you do have to sort of enjoy the journey, don't you? I can't believe I said those words out loud. But
and we weren't even laughing about it.
I know. I just said it. I didn't even say it ironically like a comic, but I do think that. I do think like it's like the difference. For example, in this instance, there's a difference between me just going, I'm just going to enjoy a chat with Sophie, or going, I hope we figure out what thing's going to like go massive, and I hope this leads to something. Like it's that thing
definitely.
of like when you're younger, you are just thinking like that. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then so you don't enjoy the thing in the moment.
Exactly. And that means also that if you can have if the kernel of it makes you feel good, then whatever happens with it, you can actually really live with as well.
Yeah.
And I think actually, again, like for me, what happened with Murder was such a good example of that, because firstly, even if nothing had happened with the song, just the fact it was in the movie made me happy. And also when I made the video, or I did all the things back then, I was really happy. So now I've got, it comes back at me and I'm like, yeah, great. I still like that stuff.
but then if we could just talk about Murder one more. But like when Murder got big on Saltburn and like it propelled you to be, to have the year that we've talked about, it was getting chopped up loads onto like TikTok and socials and stuff like that. And I imagine there might have been some pressure on you for Perimenopop to have 12 versions of Murder on it or whatever, like was that any, and also the other thing is a lot of artists talk about the fact that there's a slight pressure to make songs that you can take a bit out of to go on a TikTok dance or something like that.
Yeah, but you've got no control on that, have you? I mean, look at what's really happening on the amount of songs that are in that's like top, 0.5%,
Yeah.
I think it's really greedy to be like, oh, that felt amazing. Can I have that again? Like, no, you've got to a special.
Yes, yeah.
One-off. Like, I think hoping for those things to happen is actually not a very healthy thing to even really allow yourself to just do what you like, what you enjoy. The rest will follow.
Do you know Akon? You know Akon, remember Akon?
Akon, yeah, with a K, right?
Can't let me out, that guy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he got really excited by ringtones.
Oh.
Right,
okay.
and so he's noticed that loads of people had songs as their ringtones. So he actually said that he actively started making songs that would be good as ringtones. That was like his motivation to make stuff.
But then people are always trying to crack the code.
Yeah.
There's always people. I mean, the amount of people I've worked with over the years where they're trying to crack the songwriting code. Like, this is the equation for a pop record that will work. And sometimes there's a little sweet spot where that does kind of work, but it always stops working.
Yeah.
And it's so serious. Like, why do you want to be serious
I
about
know.
something that's supposed to make you feel good?
And also like piecing things together and like if the bridge goes here and this is like this. It's
Absolutely. I had an experience with some very focused competitive songwriters very early on, and after I worked with them they said, let's do another song, and I said, I cannot work the way you work. I wish you all the best, but for me this should be something where I feel great after a session, and I can't stand sitting around with serious faces working out of what will work for radio. Like literally there's nothing less creative than trying to second guess what other people want, and it always leads to folly. You always make something you don't actually really like that much because you second guess what other people will want from you. Well, how arrogant is that?
Yeah.
It's so rude. Like absolutely sod off.
Have you read Rick Rubin's book about creativity?
I haven't actually, but I've heard him being interviewed.
Yeah, so that book's amazing. It's sort of what you're talking about. In fact, he actually says the audience should be nowhere near your thoughts when you're creating something. It's like the audience come last.
I think that's true.
And he's sort of saying that whenever you see a creative or an artist or somebody and they're thinking about what the audience want, they often make their worst work.
Agreed.
And he said, he goes, actually, what it is like it's making something that you just really want to make.
It's so cynical.
And you
if you don't do it that
and
way.
you just please yourself.
Be selfish.
Yeah.
Be totally selfish.
And then he said, and what inevitably happens then is that thing is what the audience actually want.
They respond to it. Because it's coming from a point of like, it's got a pure heart.
Yeah.
I do think that's all true. I really do.
That's why I host The Weakest Link. I just thought, fuck them, man. I'm gonna do something edgy and just, Can we talk about Strictly?
Okay.
What was your Strictly? How would you describe your Strictly experience? Because I don't think I've ever been offered it. Actually, I don't think. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I could pull some strings.
No. I'm not going to. If you see me on Strictly, something's gone wrong tax-wise. But what was your like? How did you find that whole thing?
Overall, I learnt loads and I met some lovely people. It was quite. I mean, I feel a bit weird talking about it in a way because it was over 10 years ago now. So I think my Strictly login card is starting to not really work as well. But I think overall there was a lot of positives, but it was also quite an intense experience, and there's kind of nothing else I've ever done before or will do since that's equal to what Strictly was about for me.
Well, the reason I ask is because it's talked a lot about it's come up recently, hasn't it? The intensity of the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think, look, you're learning something new, and I hadn't learned anything new as an adult for ages when I did that, and I did love the indulgence of that, every day, just absorbing a new dance like that. That was really wonderful, and as I said, there were lots of positives, but it's just something that I kind of was a little bit. I went into it not really knowing much about it. Yeah. And so I was sort of learning as I went, and the same for Richard. I'd never actually seen Strictly when I did it, so I think. There were aspects of it that were a bit more challenging. Yeah. Yeah. But I think Richard was really good about speaking about that as well, because we very much went into it with us both agreeing okay, let's do this. Yeah. And then it was quite a lot for us in the end.
In terms of what the whole dynamics of it all.
Yeah, I think aspects because and again, I do think the culture of it has changed. I know people that still work on the show and they say they've really had to look at what was happening. But at the time, it was quite hard to involve anyone outside of Strictly into what was happening with me. Right. So I think, for Richard, he just found that quite stressful. Yeah. And it went on for a long time. And then people would constantly talk about the Strictly curse, which we didn't even know about at the beginning. Yeah. And then it'd be like, oh, wow, this is really a lot of questions about this, which is a crazy, if you think about that, is crazy. But then in my year, there were a few couples that had broken up by the end of the series. Yeah. And so it was just quite a lot going on. But I think they have got a lot better. I do really. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know if there's a Strictly curse or not, but Lisa keeps telling me to do it. I don't know what her motivations
you'll learn how to foxtrot. Does that appeal to you?
Absolutely.
You'll do a little paso doble.
Right, Sophie, we're going to play a game called Misquoted now. It's Misquoted. It is a series of quotes. Mm-hmm. Some of them you did say and some of them you didn't.
I said so many stupid things.
So it's just a little
cruel.
It's a little really invitation to revisit some stuff you might have said or you might not have done. Here's your first one. Is this true or false? Well, rather, did you say this or not?
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'm in my Sodder era, really. What's the point of tiptoeing around?
Oh, I definitely said that. I said that quite recently.
You did, Guardian 2025.
Yeah, it's literally this year. Yeah. Yeah, but it's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
We've kind of covered
it.
a lot. Yeah.
Having a famous mum was a high-value currency when I was little. I'd sell Blue Peter badges in the playground, 50p for a badge, and if you had £1, you'd get a signed photograph too.
Sadly, this is true.
Yes,
Although
Guardian
I think there's
2021.
a few
Giving the
people out there
Guardian
who
a lot
owe-
of exclusives, by the way.
Yeah, there's a few kids, now adults, that still owe me that money.
Really?
I didn't collect. What child brings 50p to a playground? They never had any cash.
No, that's true. I got a Blue Peter badge recently.
Did you?
Yeah, because I went on Blue Peter.
Wait, is it the white with the blue ship on
Yeah.
top? Oh, sweet.
Does it get you anything now?
Yes, you can still get access to some things.
Why am I
I
asking
believe.
you this? I'm so sorry. I
I know. Well, I am like a spokesperson for Blue Peter.
Rom, it's weird that you're asking about Strictly. It happened 10 years ago, but please do ask me about the ins and outs of the Blue Peter badge.
Yeah,
That
from the
feels
ni-
much more
from
relevant.
the 1980s. It's okay.
Okay, here's the next one. During lockdown, I did a kitchen disco every week. It was great, but my neighbours now have a trauma response when they hear ABBA.
I mean, they probably do, but no thanks to the kitchen disco. That's probably just a noternal thing.
Yeah, no,
I
that's...
didn't say it.
Yeah, no, that was...
No one should feel traumatic with that. But...
No, that is false. We made that up.
Yeah.
But the because in lockdown, there's a lot of during lockdown, a lot of stuff, a lot of people creating stuff because they're trying to find an avenue.
Yes.
I, for example, to tell you what I contributed, is I decided to do a Facebook Live every other day.
Did you?
And just talk about my day.
That's
And
nice.
then after lockdown finished and I returned to sanity, I asked my agent to apply a scorched earth policy to everything I posted during that time because
Really?
it was just like fucking me going, so, guys, just checking in. I hope lockdown's treating you all right. What have I had? Some Cheerios for breakfast and... yeah, going to play a bit of Fortnite. Why are you saying this out loud? It's
I
like I've
think we
gone
needed
insane.
No, but the need to reach out and connect was so overwhelming, and also
Yeah.
to do it in real time.
Yeah.
I do actually.
But then I think of the some people, Sophie, that are sitting there going, well, the one good thing about lockdown is they're not making as much telly. I'm not going to have to see Romesh as much. And then every day you're getting a fucking update. It's not even hidden behind a format.
It's more prolific than
It's
ever.
just... It's seeing more shit than he ever has.
Unfiltered.
Why is he asking quiz questions on Facebook?
That sounds fun.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is what you did was like get a whole group of, you know, it was.
Yeah, but it's very similar vibe of just needing an outlet, like that catharsis of just like, I'm stressed, it's
Yeah.
pressure cooker. And the discos did give us a focus, but it was a crazy time. And I did think that when we did the first one that people were going to be really annoyed with me. I thought I'd read the room really wrong,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, because a lot of the things that other musicians were doing were quite earnest and heartfelt
Yes.
and sad. I didn't want to feel sad. The news was so heavy. My thoughts were already pretty overwhelming, I think. So I wanted a release,
Yeah.
get me somewhere else. And
Yeah.
music is such a good tonic. So I would listen to something that I loved, years ago, because it'd be like, okay, I'm in the club, wherever I am. It was healthy. It helped me.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. Much better than a series of daily updates.
I think that sounds good. I would do that kind of thing sometimes
No,
too,
it was
though.
bad. It was bad. It was
Well, I'll
bad.
never know. It's all
I
gone.
wouldn't have watched it if it was happening there. Let alone log on to an app to watch it. Okay, here's your next one. I think a lot of my kids' generation don't care what age you are. They just want to have good music. But also, there's so much fun to be found in this chapter of my life, and I love the fact that the years have piled up.
Yes, that's me. I did say that. Yeah.
Yes. Do you know where you said it?
Was it The Guardian?
No, it wasn't. It was Good Morning Britain, but then it was then reported in the Evening Standard. You know how
Okay.
the Evening Standard like to
Did they do
like
that?
to take things and pretend it's journalism.
Ah.
Congrats, Journo, for watching the television. No, it's good. Okay, here's your last one.
Okay,
You've done very well, by the way.
thanks.
If you're not having fun writing a song, put your pen down and just get AI to do it.
I haven't said it, but it's absolutely what I think.
Yeah. What's your attitude towards AI? Just quickly.
I mean, I might be really chilled about it, but I just don't feel very much about it. I don't really think about it. I think human flaw is quite hard to reproduce. And I
Yes.
think that's actually the thing that often you seek out.
Yeah.
So I think I think it might serve a purpose for things that don't. There's always been space for music that just is not really like soulful. So
Yeah.
fine. But I think when it comes to people sharing a human experience, I feel like that's safe. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, me too. They can't do podcasts, can they? Yeah. Okay. Now, we're talking about Parents' Evening.
Yep.
You had your mum on Parents' Evening.
Yes.
What was that like having having a famous mum? Did you and you having a famous mum? Does that make you reflect on your kids' experience a bit more differently, having gone through it yourself?
I suppose I didn't really think about it too literally, but sometimes it does occur to me that there are lots of things I've mimicked.
Yeah.
There's parallels, but I suppose when I was little, my relationship with my mum is very good, and what she did for a living was never really like the main thing. It's not a defining aspect of our relationship in any way. But I definitely think that, yeah, I'd be really silly to think that having my mum be in the public eye while I was growing up wasn't something that formed part of how I saw the world, because it just absolutely did. So yeah, that was between when I was about 4 and 8. So, quite a crucial point. But yeah, I think my memories of it now, looking back, I sort of think that I saw a lot of other things that I didn't realise, like her work ethic, or her doing trips, or her pragmatism when it came to doing her work, but also being a present mum for me. And I hope I've taken on the best aspects of that, because I think that's helped give me permission to do what I do as well.
Did you love having a famous mum that's making children's TV? Was that
mixed, if I'm honest? I think there was a bit when I was little, and I thought it was really exciting and such a novelty, and that I would be able to make friends in a playground like really quickly, because I would literally be like, my name's Sophie and my mum's on Blue Peter. Because it would really work. This person would be like,
of course, man, yeah.
Awesome,
That's like
great.
big.
Let's go on the slide together.
Yeah.
So I would make friends quickly, but then I also experienced a bit of, some kids really hating it. So in my actual primary school, there was an Against Sophie club and all this sort of thing. And I'm
God,
pretty
are you
sure
serious?
that was, yeah. My mum jokes she still gets the newsletter, but
That's horrible.
As far as I'm aware, they've disbanded, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be bigger and stronger than ever.
I mean, they must have been absolutely devastated when Saltburn came out.
Can you imagine? Awkward. But yeah, they put stones in a tree and tried to shake it when I went past. And
Oh my God, are you serious?
And speaking a language that they thought I couldn't understand. And I just found that was all primary. And then by the time, what kids are like in childhood's like, by the time we moved area and I started secondary, that was like old news. And where I went to school, my secondary, it was all new people. So it didn't really play much of a part in my teenage years in that way, because it was from, you're not like reminiscing, are you, when you're 14? Like,
No.
Guys, can I talk about when I was 6 for a minute? It just doesn't come up.
And then how do your kids, do they like what you do? And how much cringe is there involved? Not that there should be, but my kids cringe at me. That's
Oh,
what I'm
God, yeah.
asking.
And that's, to be honest, quite fun.
Yeah.
I don't mind embarrassing them. It's terrible to admit. But, I mean, I don't really ask them much about what I do. And as I said before, I think before we started recording, my 6-year-old literally yesterday was like, well, you don't work. So I literally don't know how much he's even paying attention to me, to be honest. But I hope as they get older, I've spoken to them about it in a way that's positive. And I think some of that actually has come out through my podcast, because I speak to other working women who happen to be mums, because I'm fascinated to hear how people have calibrated these different things that are part of their life, and how they navigate guilt, because I definitely think that's been part of it. But I just hope they're not really thinking about me in that way too much. I hope their main thought when they think of me is just as their mum.
Yeah, I think I sort of feel like it's one of the things that's really cool about having a family is that, I feel like what I do outside of my house is of such little importance to my wife and children, to Lisa and the kids. And so like, it's like a bubble, it's they just don't care. They don't care if like how your show's gone, or I mean, they'll ask me, because that's how humans interact, but they're not that's the least interesting thing about me to them. Do you know what I mean? So it's a nice thing.
I'm exactly the same, and I love that as well. Like as soon as I get in through the front door, it's like, right, what's going on with you guys? What needs sorting? Get new shoes, got to take you for an eye test. It's all the regular stuff.
Although sometimes, Sophie, when they're being particularly disrespectful, I will say to them, I'm a fucking legend out there.
Do you know how many people bought tickets to my tour last
Do you know how many people think I'm an absolute don?
I think if my kids ever think someone likes what I think they are really amused by it.
Really?
And bemused is probably more the word.
Yeah.
They're like, that person quite likes that song. Like, oh, okay, if you must. I think Murder on Dance Floor, like literally my teenage son, like I had to be basically like, this will pass.
Yeah.
Imagine how mortifying it is to have your mum's music all over your TikTok, like absolutely shove off with that. I think that was just, I just had to reassure him it wasn't going to last forever.
Yeah, no, I get that. Now, Sophie, it's been amazing to have you on. The team like to have like an exclusive or something that we can really clip up and go viral. We're all about feeding the algorithm. It's not about real chat on this.
So a long time ago, in I think it must have been like early to mid 90s, my dad, who is a TV producer and director, was doing some work with Prince Edward's production company. And I really meant to remember what they were called. I think it begins with an A.
Okay.
And so my dad would spend quite a lot of time at the offices where Prince Edward had his office.
Right.
And one time I went to visit and I noticed a copy of Grease on DVD.
Right.
In the office.
Yeah.
And I took it. So I have that copy of Grease.
You stole Grease from Prince Edward?
Essentially, yeah. I have seen
I
him
think you
subsequently.
can you not be hanged for that?
Well, if it's possible, he's being nice about it because he's patron of the National Youth Theatre and I too work with them.
Right.
And so we've been at events together and he might be just giving me like false sense of security.
Yeah.
So far I seem to be okay. But I do feel a bit bad. But I think at the time, and by the way, my dad had no part of this. I did this on my own.
Yeah, okay. Well done for distancing. That's
yeah,
really
I think
sweet
I was
of you
about
to do that.
14, 15 and I think at the time I just found it kind of amusing, if I'm honest. So
would you return it to him?
that would imply I don't still know where it is. It's probably in my attic.
Yeah, I'm just saying after this goes
You're
out,
right,
you
return
might get
it.
some sort of decree.
No, you're right. Okay, you're right. This could be the moment.
And they'll send like one of their homing swans
oh no
to come and collect it, and you just have to
I'll be
tie
in
it
the
to its neck. Sophie Ellis-Bextor, you have been a fantastic guest. You've been very honest, very open, very
Too
funny.
honest.
No, not at all.
I'm literally going to go to the tower.
Yeah, I mean,
after
listen,
this.
it's so good to be having your last ever public chat with you.
I'm risking prison for you.
Sophie Ellis-Bextor, everybody. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Romesh Ranganathan Show, make sure you follow wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the big ones, and you can enjoy more great content like this. And in fact, I'll go further to say, even if you didn't enjoy this episode, just follow anyway for shits and giggles. And on the Thursday episode, we're going to be taking questions from viewers and listeners.
Oh,
So that's exciting, isn't it?
it's interesting.
Yeah. And if you've got an interesting story or a question for my mum and I, or even like a family dilemma you'd like us to help you with, please do get in touch via our email address, podcast@rangabee.com, or you can voice note or text on this number, 07731 62 33 55. I'm Romesh Ranganathan, and this has been the Romesh Ranganathan Show. What a narcissist. See you next time.
Oh, shut up, Romesh.